beautiful beings. I want to really give a clear distinction today about tolerance, acceptance, and allowance. Knowing what these three words mean and energetics of behaviors and reactions from these three words is really important on our awakening and ascension journey. And you may start to notice that you're starting to shift with them. So tolerance, acceptance, and allowance are cousins, okay? And I see them following 3D, 4D, and 5D. That's how I kind of imagine them. So I want to get into, let you know about them. This has been really helpful for me to find this distinction and see what I'm doing and how I'm behaving and what I'm reacting from. It's been super helpful as I'm doing a lot of inner child work this season of my life. So my name is Rebecca Abraxas. You're here on my channel where we are remembering our greatness together. And I do a lot of sound healing and light language here. If you have a desire to be supported with light language or custom sound healing, be sure to get in touch with me down in the links in my description. Okay, so the difference between tolerance, acceptance, and allowance. So I see tolerance as something that is choiceless. I did a video around a few months ago around this. Tolerance doesn't have a choice. You know, a lot of kids are tolerating. They tolerate, and they're in families where they see where love is being pulled away from them, so they tolerate and they try to manipulate in a certain way and act in a certain way and do certain things so they will receive love. They're tolerating. They're pretty wise to do that at that point in their lives, I guess. So they're just placating and trying to figure out how to be in a family. They're tolerating. Tolerating means that there's just not much choice in the situation. It also means that there could be kind of like a right and wrongness. There's some polarity and judgment there. Like, oh, if I'm not loved, that's bad, right? So there is a polarity and there's no choice, okay? So this is important to get because you'll see how this starts to shift in the other two. Now I see tolerance as a 3D behavior. So that's tolerance. Acceptance is there's more choice here. You're being with what is. However, the judgment piece is still there. We still see it as black and white. We're still seeing it as a polarity and right and wrong. I'll accept this, I'll be with this, but I don't, you know, this is wrong, this is right kind of thing. And that's still in our mind. We're idealizing, right? I'm accepting the situation, but I don't gotta like it. So acceptance, I believe there is some choice. You're gonna walk away from it, you accept it, you be with it, you walk away. But there's still a polarity there. And with that kind of mental logic and idealism, that's kind of awakening into fourth dimension. And in fourth dimensions, we're really looking at our mind. We're really broadening perspectives, and we're kind of looking at how to support people that are down and out. Our mind's working over time in ideologies kind of thing. So I see that as a fourth dimensional behavior. Now, when we go to allowing has to do with, oh, this is what is. Being with what is. This is what's happening. There's no judgment. There's no right or wrong about the situations. There is just full permission. This is what's happening. These are what souls are doing to experience energy on a physical plane. That's all it is. That's just, there's no judgment or polarity. There is full choice. Okay. However, a lot of times as we go toward 5D, we feel like to be in an allowance and awake and ascended, we have to be doormats. And this is not true. This really has to be seen and heard. You do not have to be a doormat just because you're coming into an allowance. That's not being like a kindness to yourself, because, you know, allowance involves choice. So if you are an allowance of someone's behavior and the way they talk and where they are on their journey, and they're starting to talk a certain way to you, you can say, I am an allowance of, what you're practicing here. This doesn't work for me. This doesn't work for me. So I'm going to go over here. So you can always say, this doesn't work for me. There's no judgment in that. What you're doing is holding a boundary for yourself. And in holding awareness and a boundary for yourself, you get to choose what's light for you. So when we are living and going toward 5D reality, we are living with the flow of lightness. And most likely you're going to attract that lightness. And sometimes we don't. Sometimes we butt up against something that doesn't feel that light. And we're like, oh, well, there it is. That doesn't work for me, so I'm going to go over here. That's what allowance is. And I see that more as kind of heading into a 5D. So tolerance helps us get to acceptance. Acceptance helps us get to allowance. And why is allowance so important? I feel allowance is really important because of how we are viewing things in the collective. So if you look at any kind of current event, if there is polarity with it, and there feels like a victim mentality, I have no choice, if we can live a broader perspective than that, like there's always choice. There's always choice within, right? To view something a certain way. And eventually that does shift what's out here, because your thoughts create your realities. So if we're looking at current events, can we look at it with neutrality? Can we look at life as a banquet of choices? And you choose to have this dish and this dish, and not that one and that one. And when you choose that, you're going into life to experience energy in that way from the things you've chose. And it's none of our business to polarize or judge anyone's choices of what they came here to do or be. Right? So if we can reel back judgment, reel back polarity, and we always need some polarity here to kind of keep this reality kind of moving in this way. But if we can reel back the judgment and just have neutrality of what we're seeing. Now that might be hard when we see sex trafficking, or we see war, we see innocent people being attacked, bullied. I know for me as a little kid, bullying still is so hard for me to wrap myself around. How can we find neutrality with everything? Because there's something that a teacher told me from Access Consciousness. Everything's as it seems, and nothing is as it seems. So the surface reality that we're seeing, there's so much unseen that created this physical seen reality. Everything's as it seems, and nothing is as it seems. So when you take a situation for face value, you're really missing out on all the energetics and all the choices that made this happen in this present moment. There's so many roots of energetics, of vibrational energetics and choices that culminated here. And contracts, soul contracts, group contracts, collective contracts, vibrational alignments that all culminated to make this event or this situation. I find it really helps to broaden my perspective this way, to know that everything's as it seems and nothing's as it seems. There's so much of the unseen that we can be aware of. You can choose to be aware of the deeper energetics. So when someone is in an abusive situation, when someone is in a, a not fair situation, a bullied situation, instead of automatically, going for the support of the underdog, see if you can ask this question. What am I aware of here with this situation? What's unseen here that I could be aware of? And you'll probably be really fascinated by all the different things that are making up this face value that bring the underdog to this moment. We don't know. The underdog may need to really empower himself enough to get through that. The underdog may have had a contract to have this experience happen to him because of a guilt thing that happened in a past life. We don't know. Perhaps he's taking this on for something that he's taking it on because he knows, as the awakened soul that he is, he can handle it, and maybe they can't. We don't know why certain beings and souls choose things. And honestly, it's none of our business. What is our business is right here, right now, our present moment. This is what we have control over. And right now, would you be willing to step into allowance? Would you step away from tolerance and acceptance and step into the next level, into allowance, which is letting go of judgment, decreasing the polarity, knowing you have choice, knowing you can say, oh, I see that. Okay. This doesn't work for me. What else is possible? All right. So if you are in a whole environment that's not working for you, and you're the only one that's like, this isn't working for me, what do you do? Do you place yourself as a victim in this environment? Or do you ask the question of your higher self, what else is possible? This isn't working for me. They want to play in this playground, no judgment, but this isn't working for me. So what do you do? Do you go create a different environment? Do you move? Do you say, I'm not a victim here. This isn't working for me. I'm going to go over here. Do you choose to step into the environment and be the catalyst for this environment to make a choice for something different? That's a possibility too. There's so many possibilities when we live from awareness and allowance. And I've been kind of going back and forth with tolerance, acceptance, and allowance my whole life. And I have noticed that when I do live with tolerance, I tend to implode and then explode. And that's what I've really learned through some of this inner child work that I've been doing. Yeah. And what really helps me to come into the allowance is meditating and having boundaries with myself instead of out here. So I tend to, and maybe many sensitive people can do that. I need this in place and this in place. I need this different. I need the boundaries with this person, boundaries with that person, boundaries there, boundaries here. That's the first step of getting to know ourselves and getting to know what we really require. And I invite you to look in here. This is what I've been playing with lately, is what boundaries do I need with myself so that out here can remain neutral. So meditation is essential for me every day, sometimes twice, 3 times a day. Walking in nature, making sure I get quiet time and a deep sleep. It doesn't really matter as much as how much time I sleep, but I've noticed that it has to be deep. And so I could sleep for 12 hours and maybe only 2 hours be that deep sleep. So, when I go to bed, I ask, can I have deep sleep? As much deep sleep as I need. And so sometimes we can get a little carried away with how much sleep we need. There's so much around, like, you need 7 hours. Ask your body, how much sleep do you need? So if we get up with a whole judgment and perspective that we need sleep and I didn't get enough, your day is going to be pretty shitty. I've experienced that. But when I get up in a total allowance of how much sleep I've gotten and say, okay, I guess in this present moment, that's all we needed. And I do go to bed asking for some deep sleep and feeling nourished and supported for the next day. So that's a practice that I do. So notice how you feel nourished and well in your life, and have boundaries within here that you know that you need to keep so that you can stay in that neutral place. So this is the difference in my perspective of tolerance, acceptance, and allowance. So this distinction really helped me start to shift some things in my life, and I hope it supports you as well. So I'm going to play a little song to end here. And I think this one works well with it because we're talking about polarity and emotions that come up when we have judgments and polarity. And under emotions, I've noticed, is the kiss of God, patiently waiting to be seen and heard. So I see emotions as gateways of awakening that let us know that when we are not at the frequency of our source self, which the source self brings us more to our 5D reality, allowing. So here we go. Woo. Under all emotions is the kiss of God, patiently waiting to be seen and heard, seen and heard. Under all emotions is the kiss of God, patiently waiting to be seen and heard, seen and heard. Under all emotions is the kiss of God, patiently waiting to be seen and heard, seen and heard. Blessings, beautiful being. May you have a wonderful day filled with compassion, allowance, flow, joy. And remember, if you would like some support raising your vibration and sustaining your vibration, go down there and check out some of those links and to get some custom sound healing. Bye-bye.